Radio check. We should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome along to the coverage. Hello. All right, so we are now 30 minutes away from the start of sprint qualifying here in Sao Paulo. Yeah, round number 21 of 24 on the Formula One calendar. The championship is really getting very exciting in these final couple of races. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, 1 point between the two drivers. And we've had quite the eventful free practice one session, to be honest. We have Nico Hulkenberg up in third position somehow. Really good lap from him. Bortoleto as well up in fifth position. The Kick Sauber's looking good at the start of FP1. Despite not having the best top speeds out of the bunch. Then we have got Fernando Alonso up there in fourth position as well. We'll see what he can do. Bortoleto, of course, this is his home Grand Prix, so let's see if he can put up a good showing for his fans. Maybe, we've had Antonelli get a podium, we've had Hadjar get a podium, so maybe we'll get another rookie on the podium in the form of Gabriel Bortoleto at his home race. There's rain forecast for tomorrow for the sprint race, and there is also a rain forecast for the race on Sunday, which is, well, really good news. So, yeah. All right. Is QUALI delayed? No, it is not, folks. Qualifying will be taking place in 20 minutes' time as standard. Big surprise at the end of free practice 1 was Max Verstappen in 17th, Charles Leclerc in 18th, Lewis Hamilton in 19th, and Yuki Tsunoda in 20th. And the reasoning for that, shall we say, was probably down to the fact that Max was hiding his pace. He very clearly did a flying lap and then backed out of it right at the end. And the Ferrari drivers did not go out on soft tyres or even medium tyres. As you can see there, the majority of the quick laps at the end of the session were set on medium tyres. I think Tsunoda was out on softs for, as you can see there, 16 laps. However, nobody else bothered to go out on mediums apart from Tsunoda and Max. Max did one lap, then aborted it, came into the pits, so we didn't get his full third sector time. And the Ferraris were like, we want to save our mediums for the race, we want to save our softs for qualifying, and they only used a singular set of hard tyres for the entire free practice 1 session. So Ferrari have got a lot of data on their hard tyres, not so much data on the mediums and the softs. However, these teams are pretty good at sort of comparing to the other teams and seeing if they, what the Ferrari engineers can do. They can look at the McLaren data and they can see, the McLarens went about 0.2 quicker or 0.4 quicker when they switched from the hards to the mediums, and they're like, okay, if the McLarens did that, we'll probably be similar, so it's not really the end of the world. And the other thing, of course, is that the medium tyres will be used during the sprint race, which means that the teams will get the data that they need then, and it should be an all right weekend for Ferrari. I don't think it's the worst decision in the world. Definitely not one of the worst decisions Ferrari's made. They've done things that are a lot worse than that. Chief in Reader, thanks for joining the channel membership. That's really appreciated. I think we're now up to 120 members now. So it's, really big thank you to all of the members that have joined. And thanks for supporting the channel. Right. F1 Gamer, why does your stream start so early? Very misleading about the starting time. I am very sorry about that. The way that I always do all of my streams is I will start the stream half an hour in advance to the session, and also the race stream will be 1 hour in advance. So that's normally how it goes, and you guys can take that into account. I think YouTube does send you a notification every once in a while that the stream's starting, so you know that when the stream begins and you get a notification, you can wait half an hour and that'll be the start of the session. All right. Yeah. The sprint has Drizzle expected during sprint quali. Interesting. All right, I shall double check the forecast because, of course, as I was saying for the whole of the FP1 session, the forecast is very, very unpredictable in Interlagos. So I shall double check and see what it has got to say. But the Interlagos weather, when I checked this morning, seemed to be reasonably dry. If I check the percentage chance of rain, it says around 10%. However, 3 hours ago, ladies and gentlemen, the National Institute of Meteorology in Brazil have announced an orange alert for a storm warning happening today in, well, just a few hours' time. So, well, we'll see how it goes. They expect a little bit of rain here and there, and they do also expect some strong winds. Now, this is an orange alert for the entire sort of region of Interlagos, not just Interlagos itself. However, you know, an orange alert for a storm is always welcome in qualifying, as long as we don't get 5 red flags like we did last time. So, yeah, good news for you folks. Good news. Okay. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button. Very much is appreciated. And I watched a video about Ferrari and their power management this week, and it was concerning with the mention of thermal buildup and the potential to diminish brake sync with the actual brake force. Yeah, the thing is now, we've only got 4 races left for Ferrari. Like, they have clearly made some design mistakes that have resulted in quite big problems for them throughout the season. And, you know, all of these teams do have to make these decisions, these compromises, and they sort of hope that they won't have as big as an impact as the worst case scenario. However, I'm sure when Ferrari did their estimations and calculations, they didn't think it would be this bad. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, their calculations were wrong, and yeah, they've resulted in a car that is, well, not up to scratch really in terms of its technical development. However, in 2026, there will be a totally different car, and, well, hopefully they can fix the mistakes that they've made. All right. Any rain during qualifying? Well, folks, as I have said, there is a 10% chance of rain. However, there is also a orange alert storm warning. So take of that what you will, but the orange alert storm warning is right now. It was... yeah, essentially, yeah, the storm alert starts at this moment in time. So we've got 20 minutes till the start of sprint quali, and then sprint quali will take 45 minutes to complete, if there are no red flags, of course. All right. What is a desirable starting position on this circuit? Like Kota, it was 3rd and such F1 gamer. Thanks for the question there, Remammed. And yeah, so the ideal starting position here, well, is sort of pole position really, because the run from turn 1 in towards the run from pole position, in towards turn 1 is 200 meters. However, you do start on the right-hand side of the grid, if I remember correctly. Let me just check. I've got it saved here on my phone. Where is it? Oh yeah. So the drivers do start on the right-hand side of the grid. That means they will be on the outside line if they do get pole position. However, because the run is so short, 200 meters should be, yeah, it's very much manageable, and pole position is always a good place to start. And the other thing is, here in Interlagos, overtaking is very, very much possible. And because it is very much possible, it's not the end of the world if you do start in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, because there's always opportunities to make overtakes. Again, here in Interlagos, we do have loads of tyre wear. This will most likely be a 2-stop race. We've got a reasonably short pit stop loss time. The pit lane is reasonably long, but more than half of the pit lane is actually not under the speed limit. You can drive as quickly as you want during sort of the second half of the pit lane. Let me quickly just show you. Yeah, so the pit lane speed limit ends just about here, and the drivers can go full speed through this part of the circuit, and they can also go full speed right about up until here as well. So yeah, you don't lose too much time, and 2 stops race is typical around here because we do see a lot of tyre wear. Right. Ideal start position might be P17, maybe, who knows. Max, of course, did manage to get that to work last year, so maybe it will work again. Can you show the flying lap of the circuit? Indeed, I can. All right, I'll turn off my webcam and then turn on the flying lap. Here we go. All right, so let's go for a flying lap of the circuit. The main thing here is your final corner. Your turn number 12 is the final real corner of the lap, and you just want to be super late on the brakes. It's a little bit uphill, so you can actually use that to your advantage, brake a little bit later. You can miss the apex, you can hit the apex, do whatever you want, just get a good exit. That is the aim of turn number 12. You hug the inside line as you go through 14 and 13, and then you make your way towards the start-finish straight. Again, on a quali lap, you'd be right tucked in all the way to the left to minimize the distance. But on a flying lap, you start over on the right-hand side, brake over the AstroTurf, actually. Let me just rewind a few seconds. You can see here, I'm braking over here on the AstroTurf. It does have a reasonable amount of grip, so the drivers will test that out. They'll test if the AstroTurf has grip. Of course, if it doesn't, then they won't be braking there. But that is something that a lot of drivers do because, you know, it opens up your entry into the corner and allows you to take a slightly wider line in. Then you go through the center S. You're going around third, fourth gear, 100 miles per hour or so as you go through that point. And then you very much slingshot your way out through turn number 3, hugging the inside line and yeah, just trying to carry as much speed as you can down towards turn number 4. We've seen some very, very interesting racing lines, shall we say, over the years at this corner, and some very interesting overtakes as well that have happened, but the aim is, of course, to stay within track limits. If you do exceed track limits here on the outside, well, firstly, you run the risk of crashing and spinning out like Yuki Tsunoda did earlier on in FP1, and, of course, you do also run the risk of getting your lap time deleted. So the drivers will be very wary of that one. You hug the inside line again through turn number 5 and now in towards turn number 6. This is probably one of the high speed corners on the circuit. 6th gear, flick the car into the right at 140 miles an hour, then deep onto the brakes and just try and carry the momentum, carry the speed. And also, you've just got to short shift through a lot of these corners because, you know, you've got 1,000 horsepower in this car, and when you're going in 2nd gear, 3rd gear, you haven't got as much downforce squeezing you onto the ground, so you've got to be very careful with your right foot. And then, once again, in towards turn number 12, you've got a good exit to make. But turn number 11, this corner here is very much easy, flat, in dry conditions. However, if it does start to even damp up ever so slightly, it gets extremely tricky. And in wet conditions, you can see we're sort of going up a hill. All of the water from the top of the hill starts running downwards. And as you go in towards turn number 11, the difference in grip from the exit of turn 10 into 11 is monumental. And the drivers have to be super careful of that. So we do have an orange storm alert here in Interlagos, and we'll keep our eyes peeled for any sort of rain clouds or thunder clouds that are on the way. Now that is a lap of the Interlagos race circuit. And let's get the webcam back on. All right. Okie dokes. So not long now till we get on the way. And yeah. All right, we got 2,600 people tuning into live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button, folks. And yeah, we'll be getting underway for the qualifying very, very shortly. F1 Gamer, what happened with Red Bull and FP1? I noticed they were only ones out on hards. Yes, they were the only ones out on hards towards the end of the session. However, most of the drivers, everyone apart from the bottom 4 went out on medium tyres, and the reason why they are at the bottom 4 is because they did not set a quick lap on medium tyres, really. They're trying to preserve their tyres here in Interlagos. It is a bit of a challenge to get all of your tyres to work right till the end of the weekend. It's yeah, the teams get 13 tyres, 13 sets of tyres, so 13 times 4, what's that? 52. You got 52 tyres for each of the cars, and you have to use them throughout the weekend. You've got 5 sessions. During the race, you probably want to use 3 sets of tyres. During the qualifying, you want to use 3 sets of tyres for each for each qualifying session, Q1, Q2, Q3. You want to do the same for SQ1, SQ2, SQ3. So it's a bit of a tough one, and that's why we saw the Ferraris only use the hard tyres. They want to stretch the other available tyres as long as they possibly can. All right. The other thing to point out, folks, is that we don't know who is using a qualifying setup and who is using a wet setup and who is using a dry setup. Because with the rain forecast for tomorrow, with potential little bits of rain forecast for today, does it make sense to compromise today's qualifying to have a good setup for tomorrow? Maybe so. We definitely know you can overtake around Interlagos, even if there is DRS that has been disabled because of rain. You can still make some pretty solid overtakes around here. So yeah, does it make sense to go for a wet setup? Or are you going to rely on the fact that you have a little bit more top speed? Because if you go for a qualifying oriented setup, that's going to be a little bit less downforce, a little bit more top speed. And then what you can do, it would be a bit of a risk, of course, during the race to have, during the sprint race to have a quali setup on a wet circuit. However, you'd have that extra little bit of top speed, which means drivers wouldn't be able to get past you down the straights, and hence you'll be able to hang on to position. So maybe that's the way forward. And well, we don't really know, do we? So we'll see what the McLarens do. We'll see what Max Verstappen does, but it's going to be a close fight nonetheless. I think George Russell will be getting pretty close. It's going to be tough, though. The McLarens look pretty quick, and you can just see that huge margin between Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and Nico Hülkenberg. 0.6 is the gap between those two drivers, and they're in second and third position. So McLaren's very much in a league of their own. However, Max Verstappen, the Ferraris, and George Russell all yet to set representative lap times. I still think they were running slightly higher fuel loads than everyone else was. Are you an engineer? Well, I'm studying to be an engineer, so hopefully, when I graduate at some point, I will be, I guess I'll be an engineer then. It's much more reasonable to have a dry setup as there's not much rain that can help. It's just a light drizzle. Yeah, that's also another thing to consider. How likely is it to be that we're going to get a huge thunderstorm? Reasonably unlikely, even though the weather people at Brazil have forecast, an orange alert thunderstorm or whatever. The chance of rain still says 10%. So there's like a 10% chance there could be a thunderstorm, but they don't really know. So who knows? All right. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Do you think Piastri is back? Yes, I think Piastri will be back. He very much knows, I think Piastri has improved, and that was one of his best strengths, really. Look, like, this is only his third season in Formula One, and the rate that he has been improving from the day that he joined has been incredible. And that's the one thing that's going for him. He can adapt, he can learn, he can improve. And he knows from last season that the second half and, these final 5 or so races weren't his strong suit. And he's, of course, now he's going to use the same skills that he's been using for the last 3 years to improve, to get closer to Lando Norris, to do the exact same. He's going to try and catch up to Lando Norris, maybe try and get ahead of him as well. And we'll see if he'll be able to do it. But I think Piastri has been, he's been improving very consistently throughout his career. Now the question is, will he be able to improve under the pressure? Back in 2022, 2023... 2023 and 2024, there wasn't huge amounts of pressure for Oscar Piastri, to be honest. Yes, Lando Norris was in a title fight in 24. In 23, there was no sort of pressure. McLaren weren't all that quick, and he was steadily going about his thing. But then when you get a lot more of a spotlight on you, a lot more pressure, then you get this sort of thing in your head like, oh, what should I do to optimize my title battle? Should I just let Lando Norris by? Should I not fight with the team? It's a tough one, really, and we'll see sort of how Piastri does. Of course, he's had Mark Webber as his mentor, which I'm sure will have been very, very helpful for him. Someone that has been there at the top team back at Red Bull alongside Sebastian Vettel, making sure that I'm sure Webber will have learned some lessons, how to not get pushed around by a teammate, and how to deal with team politics and things like that. And he'll be helping Oscar Piastri with that one, of course, as he is a fellow Australian to him. Okay. Let's see. If you could work for any Formula One team, what team would you choose? It's an interesting question. Well, I wouldn't want to be a Ferrari because I'd have to learn Italian. But I think I think the Kick Sauber team, actually, the fact that they're sort of based out in Switzerland seems pretty cool. Switzerland seems like a cool place to be. So maybe work in Sauber for a year or something, but I don't really know. Any Formula One team would be good. And, that's sort of what I hoped, actually, when I started my engineering degree, that I would be able to work for a Formula One team. However, with the way that the channel is going, if I joined a Formula One team, they would ask me to sign an NDA contract and to close down any social media channels that I've got. And that would unfortunately mean that that I'd have to shut down the YouTube channel if I got a job in F1, which I think I'm probably not going to do then. So I think I'd prefer the YouTube channel. But who knows? I do know a few people that are working in Formula One, and they are, some people actually have said that it's not the most pleasant experience in the world. You do have to work very, very long hours. Of course, it's a very high pressure scenario. Some people like it, some people don't. But I can't mention any names. However, the Mercedes power unit doesn't seem to be, how should I say it? The mood at the Mercedes power unit factory doesn't seem to be all that amazing, according to what I have heard. From my sources, shall we say. But yeah, I'll be getting some insider knowledge at some point. Any update on the new Cadillac team? The new Cadillac team is hiring loads of people, actually. So, if you are an engineer, you want to work in Formula One, then Cadillac's hiring loads of people. So have a look at that one. Okay, so what else have we got to talk about? Well, let's have a quick look at the Constructors' Championship. Williams, of course, they have been trying to secure that 5th place position for quite a lot of this season right now. There's been a lot of talk about whether Aston Martin were going to gain enough points, whether RB were going to gain enough points, and well, now what we can see is that the gap is, it's now up at 40 points or so between Racing Bulls and the Williams team. So they should be comfortable with about 4 races left to go, sorry. It's going to be very unlikely, I think, if RB will outscore Red Bull. Of course, if RB will outscore Williams, because Williams are looking pretty solid, and nobody's bringing any more upgrades till the end of the season. It's going to be the exact same upgrade package, exact same cars, all the way till the end. And Williams should be more than fine to hang on to that 5th position. However, further down the field, RB, Aston Martin and Haas and Kick Sauber. Look at that, 72 points for RB, 69 for Aston Martin, very nice indeed, 62 for Haas and 60 for Kick Sauber. That's only 12 points between 6th position and 9th position. Again, very nice. And that could be make or break, really. If you go from 9th position in the championship all the way up to 6th position in the championship, that is an extra 40 million euros in prize money. So Kick Sauber could be looking to do that. Of course, they've had a pretty good FP1 session. We'll see what they can do during the sprint quali. But that's what all of the bottom, that's what RB, Aston Martin, Haas and Kick Sauber we're trying to do, all of them trying to get that 6th position spot. And let me know who you think's going to get it, folks. Let me know who you think will be getting that 6th place, because to be honest, it's anyone's game. Haas had a really good weekend with Ollie Behrman last weekend in Mexico. Maybe it's going to be Fernando Alonso puts together a really good performance in a wet Brazil circuit. Maybe it'll be, I don't know, but Gabriel Bortoleto at his home racetrack does fantastically. It will be pretty interesting, to say the least. And, of course, what everyone wants to hear, it is the Drivers' Championship. 357 points for Lando Norris, with 6 wins and 16 podiums. Oscar Piastri with 356 points, 1 point less. However, he has got 1 more race win and 2 less podiums. And, it's really hotting up, isn't this championship battle? Max Verstappen there in 3rd position, 321 points to his name. He is 36 points back from Norris and 35 points back from Oscar Piastri. He has got 5 wins to his name and 11 podiums. And considering the thing is, that Red Bull car hasn't been so good this season. Max Verstappen has done a fantastic job. And I've got to say, the Red Bull engineers as well. They have figured out whatever they need to do to get the car in the window. That was what we've been hearing all season long, right from the first race all the way till right now. The Red Bull car has a very narrow operating window, and sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. So I've got to say, the engineers that have worked on cracking the code, trying to get that Red Bull in its optimal working state, have done a fantastic job. And, well, it's looking good now for Max Verstappen. And, the odds, I would say, are in his favour. If it's raining in Brazil, as the forecast says so, things should be looking good. Okay. What I'm going to do now, I am going to get rid of the FP1 data, and I'm going to pop up the QUALI data. There we go. All right, let's get rid of that. Fantastic. And let's also get rid of the driver's standings. Brilliant. 5 minutes now, folks, till we get on the way. F1 Gamer, I'm also studying to be an engineer for the F1 team, but I'm currently studying for my GEE. Hardest exam in the world, so stressful. Yeah, I mean, even being a Formula One engineer, I've heard that the ratio for people that apply to how many positions they have, I think Formula One teams maybe have like 10 new jobs every year, but 1,000 people apply, or so you're competing against 100 other people to try and get that job, which is quite the tricky one, isn't it? Okay, track temperature 43 degrees Celsius at the track, 19 degrees air temperature, and 72% humidity. The rain says no. It's just been slightly cut off the screen there for you folks, but it does say no rain. And yeah, I will update you, of course, if it does rain. Okay, yeah, be sure to hit the like button, folks. We're 4 minutes away from the start of the session. If you have any predictions or anything that you want to ask me, be sure to do so, and I'll carry on running through a few more things here and there. Colapinto has got his contract extended for 2026, so he has been re-signed by the Alpine team. Flavio Briatore says that Colapinto has very much changed, very much improved. However, my counter-argument to that is that money talks, and Colapinto's got a lot of money. So we'll see how it goes for Franco Colapinto and how much longer he sticks around in Formula One, because, yeah, his performances compared to Pierre Gasly have not been all that incredible. Okay. How long have you been commentating Formula One? I've been commentating since 5 years now. The 2020 Russian Grand Prix was the first race I commentated. Yeah. It's up on the channel, actually. We've had a few people, I've seen a few comments there where people after I hit 100k or after I hit 200k, people have gone back and typed comments in that video. So, yeah. Alright, what are the tyre strats for the race? Most likely it's going to be soft, medium, medium, or maybe medium, soft, soft. It really depends on what the temperatures are for the day, because we get a very, very big variation in Interlagos. And of course, if it rains, then it'll be totally different. But just looking back, so if we look at today's FP1, it started out with track temperatures at 35 degrees. Last year's FP1 ended at 60 degrees Celsius. There is such a big shift in temperature. You can nearly double track temperature depending on conditions, and that will very, very much affect your tyre strategy. So yes, it depends on the forecast once again. So unfortunately, I have not got an exact concrete answer for you. Okay, look at the last race data between Colapinto and Gasly. Okay, I will have a look. Gasly got his points at the start of the season. Colapinto's quickly catching up. Okay, fair enough then. Still, of course, no points on the board, but it is obviously difficult to get points when you are in the slowest car on the grid. So I understand that. Gasly, of course, actually was quite happy in FP1. He was saying the car's feeling alive like it's never felt before in the past couple of months. So Gasly's having a really good weekend. Well, he's had a really good FP1. We'll see if it translates into a good qualifying session. But pretty fantastic there from Pierre Gasly. And we'll see if Colapinto can, of course, match him. Jedi Fire 99, thank you for the donation once again, buddy. You've sent quite a few donations over the past few streams, and really is appreciated. Okay, good afternoon, F1 Gamer. Hope your week's been good. I'm glad for some after-work entertainment today. Hoping for a rookie podium this week, perhaps Bortoletto at his home race. Yeah, that would be incredible, wouldn't it? I did mention that a little bit earlier on, I think. But yes, Bortoletto at his home Grand Prix. That would be fantastic to see. Of course, there are so many Brazilian Formula One fans after Senna, after Felipe Massa, And of course, quite a lot of them have been hoping that Felipe Drugovich would drive at some point, replace Lance Stroll, and that unfortunately has not happened. But they have got Gabriel Bortoleto on the scene, and he has been delivering fantastically against Nico Hülkenberg. In fact, if you compare the qualifying head-to-heads, Bortoleto actually beats Nico Hülkenberg most times. So Bortoleto, very, very good. I don't think he has driven at this circuit before, if I remember correctly, which is a little bit of a struggle, of course, but that's not held him back before, so he should be okay. All right. You actually look like the Sidemen Vic. Well, maybe I do. I've been told that quite a bit. I've also been told that I look like Juan Pablo Montoya. So we'll see. What are my predictions? My predictions are that we are going to have a top 3 of 3 different teams, and I think Gabriel Bortoleto is making it up into the top 7. Those are my predictions, ladies and gentlemen. It is looking like umbrella weather out there in Interlagos. The clouds are looking ever so slightly ominous as we make ourselves ready for sprint qualifying. Let me just pop myself over there. There we go. And we'll be getting the team radios coming along very, very soon. Brilliant. Let's get rid of this countdown timer. And as you can see, Yuki Tsunoda, first car out onto the circuit. He was, of course, a little bit compromised. He had a crash in FP1. However, they managed to repair the car and he still got a little bit more running time. But he's going to be going out first on a set of medium tyres as the sprint rules dictate. And yeah, he'll be doing his qualifying. Norris and Piastri follow him out. And well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to qualifying here in Sao Paulo. Okay. Yeah, brilliant. Okie dokes. So yeah, Alonso out onto the circuit, Stroll, Hadjar, Lawson, everyone making their way out onto the track. Of course, only 12 minutes in the session. In sprint qualifying, it is Q1 is 12 minutes, Q2 is 10 minutes, and Q3 is 8 minutes. Very, very short time periods, very quick turnaround between sessions. And yeah, the drivers will be getting out onto the circuit very soon. Mal, thanks for the $2 donation. Give Yuki the Lewis treatment. Don't baby him. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Lewis, of course, has been, not had the greatest season at Ferrari, and a lot of people have sort of been blaming Lewis, whereas Yuki Tsunoda has sort of been saved from the blame because the Red Bull car is a bit undrivable. So, yeah, I guess maybe that's fair, maybe it's not, but Hamilton is... Hamilton actually, his race pace today was looking pretty good in FP1, and his quali pace as well, not too far off Charles Leclerc. So, Ferrari, with good hopes there for Ferrari, and we'll see what they can do. All right, Charles Leclerc out onto the circuit, and we've got more drivers making their way out onto the track. Folks, we've got 8,000 people tuning into the live stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hello, if you are new to the channel. And if you could hit the like button, be sure to do that. Did I just say that about 10 seconds ago? Either way, yeah. We got cars out on track now, and we'll have the drivers starting their flying lap shortly. In fact, we already do have some drivers on their flying laps. Tsunoda's coming to the end of his flying lap. 18, he was quite slow actually in the first sector, and 18.3 compared to Norris's 18.0, so 0.3 gap there in the first sector. But Tsunoda, regardless, comes across the line, a 1:11.3 from Yuki Tsunoda on a set of medium tyres. We'll see what Lando Norris behind him can do. 1 full second faster, a 1 minute 10.3. Oh my goodness me, qualifying is very much on. And Oscar Piastri, 25 milliseconds ahead, ladies and gentlemen. So Oscar Piastri, he's back, he's fighting. The gap's no longer 0.3 between the two McLarens. It's, 25 milliseconds. All right, Fernando Alonso, only a 10th back from the McLarens. Fernando Alonso, what a lap from him. Stroll is only 30 milliseconds back from Alonso, so really good job there from Lance Stroll. He's channeling his inner Ayrton Senna here in Brazil. And we've got Isaac Hadjar splitting the two Aston Martins. He is 1 millisecond behind Fernando Alonso. Really, really nice job there from Isaac Hadjar, the rookie, of course, who scored a podium this season. Next up is Liam Lawson. He's about 2/10 back from his teammate, and Yuki Tsunoda is officially been out-qualified by Hadjar and Lawson already. We are 4 minutes into the session, not ideal to say the least. Max Verstappen makes his way out onto the pit lane. Lewis Hamilton starts his flying lap. Oliver Behrman now comes across the line. 7th position for him, he's half a second off the pace. Gabriel Bortoleto starts his lap. Ocon comes across the line. He's 30 milliseconds back from his teammate. The teammate's really, really close today, actually. Piastri and Norris very close. Alonso and Stroll. Behrman and Ocon. Good to see. And normally what this means is when you do have teammates really, really close to each other, that means that they are pushing the car right to the limit. There's not much left for the car to give. And, well, it's always good news, isn't it? The drivers pushing themselves as far as they possibly can. Hulkenberg quickest through the speed traps, 328 kilometers per hour compared to Bortoleto, who did 323. Maybe that's slightly different setups. Maybe Hulkenberg got a tow, but regardless, pretty good going there from the Hulk. Charles Leclerc across the line, 7th position for him. He's half a second off the pace. Somehow the RBs, somehow the Aston Martins are ahead of him. And yeah, the Ferrari engineers, they will be checking. I know that will be true. Lewis Hamilton will be coming across the line shortly as well. He gets a little toe of Liam Lawson as he makes his way down the back straight. And 7th position for Lewis Hamilton, and he is 70 milliseconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. About a 10th is the gap between the two drivers. Gabriel Bortoleto across the line, it's 8th position for him. Somehow Bortoleto is quicker than Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, even though they have the same engine. And yeah, literally, Kick Sauber and Ferrari, identical lap times, to be honest with you guys. Don't know what's going on there, but wherever the Ferrari meme is, I don't even know where I put it today. But oh no, this is the cooling ducts. Where's the Ferrari meme gone, bro? Oh yeah, absolute depression. There we go. Same pace as the Kick Saubers. And Max Verstappen, purple in the first sector. He goes half a tenth quicker than Norris. So, yeah, the fact that he was 17th in FP1, not too much of a concern, really, because his quali pace is looking absolutely fantastic. 332 kilometers per hour through the speed traps. That is a rocket ship in a straight line. I suspect he may have got a tow, to be totally honest with you guys, but regardless, does it matter? Max Verstappen, half a tenth up in the first sector. As he comes across the middle sector line, also green in the middle sector. He's a tenth down on Piastri, and he's a 10th up on Lando Norris. He comes out of the final corner. Is that Nico Hulkenberg, one of his best mates, giving him a tow as he heads towards the start-finish straight? Max Verstappen now comes across the line. It is first position by 0.2 of a second. Great job there by Max Verstappen. And, well, what can we say? Max Verstappen is back, ladies and gents. He's not going to be down in P17 as he was last year. And the session's gone pretty strong for him so far. But Lando Norris has just started his flying lap, and so has Oscar Piastri through the first sector. Lando Norris 17.9. He goes half a tenth up on Max Verstappen in the first sector, and all of that pace has come from the really good slingshot down the back straight. I think he may have got a little tow actually from someone. I'm not sure who he got a tow from, but he was very quick in between turns 3 and the straight in towards turn number 4. Then we have got, oh my goodness me, Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly is George Russell is second position. What is first position? What? Pierre Gasly is in third. Wow. The Alpine, the slowest car on the grid, they've only scored 20 points this season. McLaren have scored 700, and somehow Gasly's in fourth. Norris goes top of the times, 0.3 clear of George Russell. Wow, what a lap from Pierre Gasly. He said the car feels totally alive, so different to what it has been for the past few months, and he's up in fourth position. Oh my goodness me. Oscar Piastri, he's 0.3 back from Lando Norris. Norris has somehow just pulled that gap out in the space of 2 minutes. He's managed to bring that gap out to 0.3 of a second again. And yeah, George Russell as well, up in third position. The track is, of course, evolving, but it cannot be evolving that much. Pierre Gasly, take a bow. Yeah, Alpine got a double podium here last year, folks. Double podium. And yeah, he's such a good driver. Of course, comparing Colapinto to Alpine is going to be comparing Colapinto to Gasly is going to be a very tough one to make, because Gasly is just, well, yeah. Let's not compare Colapinto to Gasly this weekend at least. Maybe let's save that for the next one. But Gasly could get a podium. He could, especially with all the rain and everything that is forecast. Gasly is so good around Sao Paulo. I don't know what it is, but he had that drag race with Lewis Hamilton back in 2019. He has, we got a podium here last year, and now here he is in 5th position. Oh my goodness me. Alright folks, currently in the drop zone we have got Alex Albon, Esteban Ocon, Franco Colapinto, Carlos Sainz and Yuki Tsunoda. Oh my goodness me. 2 minutes 40 seconds left on the clock. All of those drivers that I've just mentioned are out on their outlaps, and they have got a second to improve to get to the top of the times for compared to Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc goes across the line, 7th position for the Monegasque driver, and that is, 7/10 off the pace. It is a used set of medium tyres, you've got to take that into account, but regardless, Lando Norris did his lap on a used set of medium tyres, and then Lando Norris, in fact, down into the 1 minute 9s. Okay. Next up, Lewis Hamilton. Here he comes across the line. What's it going to be for him? 6th position, goes ahead of Charles Leclerc by a few milliseconds, 1 millisecond quicker than the driver that replaced him at Mercedes. And he's there in 6th, 1 millisecond ahead of Antonelli in 7th. Alright, and yeah, we've got a lot of drivers on their outlap here, and they've done it again, haven't they? The Formula 1 engineers, they just love bunching up these big old queue. We've got 1 minute and 30 seconds left till the checkered flag, so everyone should be able to make themselves enough space and have enough time for a flying lap. But I have a feeling Verstappen and Hülkenberg might hit a bit of traffic in towards turn number 12. Certainly Albon will. Yeah, not going to be good there, and we'll see if all the drivers get out of the way. Alright, here comes Tsunoda then. He is on a flying lap. This is going to be his last lap. Can he make it through in towards Q2? It's going to be tight for him. It's going to be extremely tight. 13th position for Yuki Tsunoda. He is 1/10 above the cutoff. Oliver Behrman, 4th position. Oh my god. That's 3.5 tenths off Lando Norris. He was 4th position in Mexico. He's 4th position again today. Ocon comes across the line. He does not improve. Look at that gap. Behrman is in 4th. Ocon is in 18th and eliminated. Alex Albon, 6th position for him. Great job there. Then we've got Carlos Sainz, who's about to start his flying lap with 27 seconds left on the clock. Albon might be setting up his teammate with a tow here. Albon going slowly. You can see here going through turn number 3. Might be giving his teammate a tow. We have got Verstappen improving up into 2nd. He splits the McLarens. And Hülkenberg up into 8th. There we go. Albon gives Sainz a little bit of a tow. Bortoletto up into 6th position. Good job there from him. Next up, Isaac Hadjar, 14th, up into 6th. Nice one from the rookie. Checkered flag is out. Here comes Franco Colapinto, currently in 19th position. Across the line, it's only 15th. Tsunoda is eliminated, ladies and gentlemen. Tsunoda's out, and a few more drivers are very much on the edge of elimination. Fernando Alonso improves. 3rd position for Fernando Alonso. The track evolution is going crazy, but so is Fernando Alonso. Charles Leclerc can't even get up into 3rd, but somehow Alonso can. 11th for Charles. It's cutting it a little bit fine there. Gasly improves up into 8th position, and we've got a final few laps coming across the line now. Here comes Carlos Sainz. 1st sector wasn't amazing. 2nd sector was all right, but that is him eliminated, ladies and gentlemen. Carlos Sainz is out of qualifying after getting numerous penalties in Mexico. He's again out of Q1. Stroll up into 12th position, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the drivers in the elimination zone are Franco Colapinto, Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, and Carlos Sainz. Ooh, I did not expect that. I thought Tsunoda would get close, with the fact that Max is doing a little bit better, the Red Bull car seems a little bit more drivable. I thought Tsunoda would have been up there, but yeah, the margins are pretty close. You can see the gap from first down to 16th, or the gap from first down to 15th, is 7/10 of a second. 3/4 of a second is the gap. And yeah, Colapinto, Lawson, Sonoda were all nearly a full second off Norris's time. So bit more improvement left to go. All right. No rain as of yet. I mean, yeah, the thing is, there is an orange warning for orange alert storm warning. However, the chance of that actually happening is 10%. So, yeah, there you go. Folks, we've got 14,000 people watching. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and hitting the like button. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It goes a long way to helping out the channel. Oh, yeah, normally the like goals are for 4,000 likes. During QUALI streams. And the other thing is, folks, if you do want to watch the Formula 1 coverage for free, there's a link in the description. It's Surfshark VPN. Well, it's not for free, it's for $2 a month, and the $2 goes towards Surfshark VPN. Once you do that, you join an Austrian VPN server in Vienna, and then you go onto Google, you search ORF Formula 1, and you enjoy the Formula 1 coverage. So there is that. Another quick thing that I'd like to mention, one of the people that watch this this channel here, we've got 13,000 people. One of these people have reached out to me via email, and basically, they need a few Formula 1 fans to answer some questions about F1 sponsors for their masters. They do a master's degree in Vienna about marketing, I think, and yeah, they would like some Formula 1 fans to answer this survey. There's a link in the description. It's going to take you around 2 or 3 minutes to answer this survey, and well, Q2 starts in about 4 minutes. So I think you guys should be able to get that done. It would very much be appreciated and help out someone that's doing a master's degree. All right. Q2 is beginning in... Here we go. Let me pop the timer up. Sprint quality. Oh, it probably shouldn't say sprint quality. It should probably say SQ2. Let me just change that. SQ2. Oh, there we go. All right. SQ2 in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Fantastic. All right. So we'll be getting underway very, very shortly. Yuki Tsunoda is very much cooked, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing more that I can add to that one. Liam Lawson as well. Not ideal considering his teammate Isaac Hadjar is up there in 7th position. Same thing for Esteban Ocon. Look at that gap between Esteban Ocon, who has been in Formula 1 for so many years, is now in 19th position, getting out-qualified by a rookie teammate in the form of Ollie Behrman, and Behrman's up in 6th. I'm sure Behrman's on a roll. He's been really motivated after getting that 4th position in Mexico, but still, Ocon's got to, well, probably figure some stuff out for 2026. What's SQ2? SQ2 is sprint qualifying 2. Normally it's just called Q2, but of course, this is a sprint weekend, so it is SQ2. Okay, yeah, big gap between Bortoleto and Hulkenberg as well. In terms of lap time, not really that big of a gap. You can see only 1/10 between Bortoleto and Hulkenberg, but because the field is so close, so compressed, 1/10 of a gap takes you from 9th all the way to 14th. So, yeah, that's just how it goes. Can I slow down the team radio? Unfortunately, I can't. I would love to slow it down, but yeah, otherwise it would just keep scrolling by way too quickly. Most of the team radios are just, there's a driver behind you approaching in 5 seconds, get out of the way, please. But, yeah. Sainz had a lock up into turn 1. Fair enough, makes sense. It is what it is. If your tyres aren't warmed up properly, you're going to lock up. And, in fact, what I'm going to do now, folks, is move this over here, and I shall take you through a flying lap of the circuit. So, here we go. Coming through, final corner here. Big thing is now you've got a super duper long straight where your tyres are going to cool down rapidly, no significant corners. And the other thing here around Interlagos, once you come out of the pits, you've only got 4 or 5 real corners to actually warm your tyres up at. So it becomes a very big problem to getting those tyres up to temperature. And that's what happened to Carlos Sainz. Not enough tyre temperature, locked the brakes going in towards turn 1, probably braked a little bit too late as well. You go through the center S, up through 4th gear, try to get a slingshot, hug the inside line to minimize the distance that you travel, and then open the DRS as early as you can. Down the straight you go. Brake around about the 70 meter mark for this corner. You're down from 7th gear only to 4th gear, so not that big of a braking zone at the end of the day. Inside line again through turn number 5, and then you go up the hill a little bit, tap the brakes for 6, flick the car in, hope that it sticks. You go over a little bit of a crest here, the car goes light, but you should be able to keep it under control. Then this is the slow part of the circuit. Mechanical grip is very much required. The cars that are good in slow speed conditions are pretty good around here. Then another thing to point out, you've got no margin for error through these corners. You've got a few curbs here, but turn number 10. What is that? That is a painted white line, and there's a grass. There's grass, and then there's a barrier. 1 meter away, 2 meters away? Zero margin for error. You brake ever so slightly on the grass, you're into the barriers, quali session over, game over, and that's that. So drivers do have to be very, very careful about that one. And then you go in towards turn number 10, short shift again. 11 here is easy flat in dry conditions. And then, of course, turn number 12, again, no margin for error. You brake on the grass, you'll lose the rear as you turn in towards the corner, and you mess up your exit, and you might as well get eliminated for just doing that. So that is a lap of Interlagos. Q2 is very much underway. Let me get rid of that countdown timer. Fantastic, ladies and gents. Bortoleto, Behrman, Albon all out onto the circuit. All right. F1 Gamer, what's your fastest lap? Brazil, actually, not one of my best circuits on the F1 game. Austria is probably up there. I think, which other one? I can't actually remember. It's been a long time since I've played the F1 game, to be honest. All of these laps that I've got, I recorded them about 2 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So it's been a while. And yeah, I haven't played the F1 game because here in university I haven't got much time to play the F1 game, and also I also haven't got my steering wheel here as well. All right, 10 minutes for sprint quali 2. Oh my goodness me. I've just got this huge message over race control saying these drivers haven't followed the race director's instructions for maximum delta time. Don't worry about this, folks. Nobody ever gets a penalty for this. They all just get a warning and they all get away with it. But a lot of drivers have been going slower than the recommended speed limit by the race director because they need to warm up their tires properly. And it's particularly tough around here because this circuit is so short. Only 4.3 kilometers is the total length of this track. And yeah, results in quite a bit of problems for the drivers to get their tyres up into temperature. All right, we have got Behrman on his flying lap, 18.0 through the first sector. He's not even that far off. Look at that. He is 5th fastest in the first sector as Oliver Behrman. Very nicely done. Nico Hulkenberg, 6th fastest through the first sector. Looking pretty solid. Also, by the way, this is 6th fastest overall. This is not fastest. You can see the purple there, but that purple is for this session respectively. But the sector times that you can see below me, those are for the entire qualifying altogether, not just Q1, Q2, Q3. We got Alonso now. Alonso second fastest out of anyone. He goes quicker than Max's first sector as well. So Alonso, very nice run from him through the Senna S. Of course, turn number 1, sector 1 is pretty much just the Senna S. That's all it is. And, brake as late as you can, get a good as exit as you can, and you'll get a purple first sector. All right, Behrman across the line, a 1 minute 9.946. We've got Nico Hulkenberg, a 1 minute 9.7. He goes 0.2 clear of Behrman and his teammate. Good to see there from the Hulk. We've got Alex Albon across the line, second place for Albon. Then we've got Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton also on flying laps behind them. Here come the Ferraris. Here comes Fernando Alonso. All right, purple in the middle sector. It is first position. It is 0.4 clear. Fernando Alonso's middle sector is actually fastest out of every driver. It's quicker than the McLarens from Q1. What? In what world? Where? How have Aston Martin done this? It's an Aston Martin 1-2. In this current moment, of course, the McLarens aren't out, but still, incredible pace from them. Charles Leclerc is third. He's behind the Aston Martins, 0.3 of a gap between Alonso and Stroll. Verstappen purple in the first sector, and the McLarens are about to start their flying lap. We've got second place for Isaac Hadjar. Also, folks, this is without Adrian Newey. Adrian Newey has been exclusively cooking on the 2026 car. Verstappen's 0.4 back from Fernando Alonso. Oh my goodness me. What? I mean, I don't even know at this point. I don't even know. Isaac Hadjar's up there in second position. He's marginally quicker than Stroll, but still 0.3 back from Fernando Alonso. Rookie of the year, it's going to Fernando Alonso. It's got to go to Fernando Alonso. Who else can it be? Oh my God. Okay, well, the McLarens are on their laps. Let's have a look. In the first sector, we have got Lando Norris, a 17.9 in the... Gasly's just gone purple in the first sector, fastest out of everyone. Quicker than Verstappen, quicker than Norris, than Piastri, than Alonso. What? Pierre Gasly, man. Okay, well, this qualifying session is getting crazy. Okay, so we've got Norris now making his way through turn 10, Piastri going through the middle sector, Gasly also doing the same as well. Antonelli, 5th fastest in the first sector. The track is really ramping up, but I've got to say the pace from everyone this session is incredible. Look how close it is. From second down into 7th, it's 0.2 of a second. Lando Norris, second place. He's behind Fernando Alonso. Oh my God, Fernando Alonso. Bow down to Fernando Alonso, guys. This guy is incredible. What is he, like 45 or something? 10th position for Gasly, messes up the middle sector a little bit, messes up the middle sector very badly. Oscar Piastri is 3rd position. Folks, wait. If Gasly didn't mess up his middle sector, it's a very big if, but if he didn't mess up his middle sector, he would be up there with Fernando Alonso. That's what I'm saying. Like, incredible pace there from Gasly. Antonelli, 5th position for him. You look at the sector times, you take away the amount of time he lost on his mistake, and he would be alongside Fernando Alonso. Norris and Piastri are both behind Alonso. What is going on? What is going on? Okay. Yeah. Well, here we go then, folks. Who's it going to be? Who's getting eliminated? Is Fernando Alonso getting pole? Okay, I'm going to put a poll out. Is Alonso getting pole? Okay, no, let's say Alonso in the top 3. Let's be ever so slightly realistic. Alonso top 3 question mark. All right, here we go. Let's see. I mean, surely that lap means something. Like, it was purely on pace. I don't think he got a toe off anyone or anything like that. And track temperatures have dropped. This is the thing, folks. Track temperatures now down to 35 degrees Celsius. We started out at 46 degrees Celsius. It's now down to 35. We know the Mercedes aren't so good in hot conditions. Suddenly, the temperature's gone down, and the Mercedes have just switched on, like, out of nowhere. The Ferrari's struggling because, well, the Ferrari meme is everlasting. Wait, have I put the right one up? No, this is... Here we go. The Ferrari meme's everlasting. Absolute depression there for Charles Leclerc, as is standard. Lewis Hamilton is in the elimination zone. I don't know. 63% of people think that Fernando Alonso is going to be getting a top 3. If we get an Alonso podium this weekend, that would be mega. Of course, with the rain as well, that looks really, really possible. Yeah, 2 minutes, 30 seconds left on the clock, folks. 2 minutes and 30 seconds remain. Alonso's just going to sit in the pits. He's like, I don't need to waste any set of tyres. Because you've got to remember here, folks, these medium tyres are probably also going to be used during the race and during during the sprint race and during the actual race as well. So the less laps you do on them, the more tyre life you have, the better strategy you'll have for the race on Sunday and for the sprint race tomorrow as well. So... yeah, that's why Alonso's just sat in the pits. He's like, well, there's no point going out. I'm going to save these tyres, maybe have a better race strategy on Sunday. Max had a really bad mistake in Sector 2. Well, I'll have a look at his theoretical lap time. Even his theoretical lap time, though, Max's theoretical lap time will still have only put him... oh, no, I think the theoretical lap time's reset. Okay, but let's have a look, actually. Yeah, it wasn't amazing, really, from Max in the middle sector. He was 14th fastest. He was slower than Bortoleto and Behrman and Albon in the middle sector. So it makes sense there why he... if he improved as well, of course, he'd be up there. But it's always if, buts and maybes, and Fernando Alonso can put a lap together. So what can we say? Not bad for a 45-year-old. Okay, 1 minute 23 seconds remain on the clock. Everyone is out on a used set of tyres. The fuel loads are going to be... the cars are going to be running on fumes. We've got drivers all on their flying laps now, so let's see how it goes in the final few minutes of Q2 here in Interlagos. We have got Well, here they come then. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, all starting their flying laps now. And we've got a few more drivers coming across the line. Lando Norris, purple in the first sector. He goes quicker than Gasly by 1/10 of a second. Really good first sector there from Norris. I don't know where he's extracted that pace from, but it could come to bite him back later where his tyres start to overheat in the final sector. Piastri's into the pits. The gap between Norris and Piastri, again, 1/2 of a second. Not too major. We can't consider, Oscar Piastri's now in the pit, so he's not going to be setting a lap time on the same sort of track conditions, so not too much point comparing there. Oh, no! Bortoleto at his home Grand Prix, 14th position. He's been doing so well all of this season, out-qualifying Hulkenberg on many, many occasions. But when it counted at his home Grand Prix, unfortunately not able to put a lap together. And that is 14th position for Gabriel Bortoleto. We have got a yellow flag. Is that Charles Leclerc? Charles Leclerc has spun, I think, at the exit of turn number 10. Yes, Charles Leclerc has spun and brought out the double yellow. That might have ruined quite a few drivers' laps. Did it just ruin Hamilton's flying lap? I think Hamilton just got away with it. I think. No, Hamilton's 4/10 down in the middle sector. He maybe just screwed over his teammate. Hamilton across the line does not improve, and Lewis Hamilton is eliminated out of Q2, ladies and gentlemen. The Ferrari meme's back. Max, yeah, what can I say, guys? What can I say? Russell improves, splits the two McLarens. Good job there. As I said, the track temperature has gone down. The Mercedes are very much in the fight. And Max, nowhere to be seen as of right now because he didn't improve on his previous lap, came into the pits. All right. So, here we go then. Any other drivers left to do their laps? No, nobody else yet to do their laps. So the drivers that have been eliminated, ladies and gentlemen. Lewis Hamilton in 11th position. Alex Albon in 12th. Pierre Gasly in 13th. After that, Alpine was looking so good earlier on in Q1, but it must have just been track evolution and Gasly putting together a lap of a lifetime and unfortunately not being able to replicate that success back in Q2. Bortoleto is in 14th and Behrman is in 15th position. All right. Charles Leclerc, we've got the replay here. Let me just show you what happened. So he's going in towards turn number 10. Locks up and then... this happens all too often. And I've done this in the sim as well, actually. So let me show you guys what happened to Charles Leclerc on his flying lap at turn number 10. Right, where's the onboard gone? Here it is. So... this is what happened to Charles Leclerc. We're going in towards turn number 10. All right, so this is turn number 9, and we're going in towards turn number 10. So what happens here is that Charles Leclerc, at this moment in time... oh, let me pause it. Let's go back a second or so. Right. So he's heading towards turn number 10 and he gets onto the brakes around about here. And this point in time, he starts locking up. So he's not going to make the corner. And what happens is he goes a little bit deep. So he misses the apex, goes a little bit deep. And at this moment in time, he's probably one car width to the left of where I currently am on the track. And he's like, oh God, I've got to make this corner. I've got to turn the car a lot so I can get onto the power quickly. However, he turns the car too much, gets onto the power too early. Huge snap of oversteer because of too much steering and acceleration at the same time. And yeah, as he gets onto the exit, he spins around about just on this exit curb and game over. So, but Leclerc makes it through and his teammate gets eliminated, which is the sort of the bad thing about it, isn't it? Yeah. All right. But these things happen in Formula One, of course. I'm sure Leclerc didn't do it on purpose, but yeah, not ideal. And he's, of course, well, sort of screwed over his teammate in the end, hasn't he? Okay, let's get rid of this. And again, folks, if you haven't filled out that survey in the description, it goes a long way to helping out this one of our fellow channel members or community members. And there's a link in the description to a survey about F1 sponsors. Someone needs it, like a bunch of F1 fans, to answer it for their master's degree, master's thesis. So yeah, there's a link in the description. Go ahead and check it out. It'll take you about 3 minutes to fill out. And well, we are about 3 minutes away from the start of SQ2. SQ3, sorry, SQ3. Yeah, we've had SQ2, and well, it was quite the exciting one, with Fernando Alonso ending up top of the timings. Top of the timings for Fernando Alonso. How does he do this, man? How does he do this? I just don't know. Like, it's sort of just mind-blowing, isn't it? Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It goes a long way to helping out the channel. We've got, we got 1,600 likes. That's pretty mega. And we are 2 subscribers away from 210k subscribers. So we've got 2 people remaining, 1 person remaining now. And there we go, 210k. Thank you, everyone, for subscribing. I mean, it was like a month ago we hit 200k. So really is appreciated. And yeah, big thumbs up, folks. How long till Q3? It is going to be 3 minutes time. 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Let me just pop a timer up on the screen, folks. I think it is, yeah, 3 minutes or 2. Yeah. Wait, let me just put it on. Okay. Yeah, 3 minutes. There we go. And it's SQ3, not SQ2. And, oh, the other thing, I guess I can also put my face down where the drivers have been eliminated, since there's nothing else going on over there. All right, 62% of you folks think that Fernando Alonso is going to get pole. Well, let's wait and, not pole, sorry, get a top 3. We'll see if he can do it. It will be, man, I'd love to see that. Fernando Alonso back up there for a podium, back up there for a race win. Absolutely mega. And this circuit as well really does suit him. It's a circuit where you've got not much margin for error, and Fernando Alonso does pretty well in those sort of scenarios. What's Max's setup, wet or dry? Folks, well, let's have a look at the speed traps. That is what's going to give us information. Lewis Hamilton has been noted for a yellow flag infringement. No. That means that he could get a penalty, ladies and gentlemen. He could get a 5-place grid penalty for speeding under yellow flags. It's been noted, and that'll go under investigation. Hamilton's middles, like, I don't know how much he slowed down. I don't know if the yellow flags had come out by that point, so maybe he'll get away with it, but we don't know. I do not know what's going to happen. It's down to the FIA. You've got your own opinions on the FIA. I've got my own opinions on the FIA, but it's been noted for driving quickly through the yellow flags. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at the top speed here. You can see Fernando Alonso is one of the slower drivers through the top speed, actually. So he's running a little bit more downforce. Some other drivers, like, let's see, Max Verstappen, 335 kilometers per hour. I'm sure that's partially down to a toe, but Max is very much running a dry setup. I think Max, what he's going to do and what he's going to hope for is to get pole position, and then because if it rains tomorrow, there'll be spray behind him. No spray for him, who's starting in first position, of course, and then sort of drive off into the distance. And the other thing will be, with an extra little bit of top speed, what that would result in is, oh folks, that timer was wrong. Q3 is already underway. There we go, never mind. Q3 is already underway. George Russell's out on a fresh set of soft tyres. But yes, the advantage that Max will have with this extra little bit of top speed will mean that he'll be able to defend a little bit better if he does start in pole position. But, you know, that's a big if, because Fernando Alonso's on the charge, folks. Fernando Alonso is on the charge. All right. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. We have got... Wait, okay, no, I was about to say, is Norris coming out on mediums? But no, everyone's coming out on soft tyres. And we'll be having 2 runs, both on fresh sets of soft tyres, I suspect, because, well, why wouldn't you? All right. Stroll, yeah, let's see what Stroll can do as well, actually, because he's got the same car as Fernando Alonso. He has not outqualified Fernando Alonso in the previous, I think it's now 40 races maybe, or 38 maybe, I'm not sure. But either way, Fernando Alonso, for 38 races in a row, has outqualified Lance Stroll, or something along those lines. It's like 30 plus. And, well, we'll see if it happens again. But Alonso is, it's sort of ridiculous, really, how Alonso can even do that. 30 races in a row, no DNFs, no accidental spins, no nothing. And he's still, yeah, mega. All All right, Max, looks like half the drivers are sat in the pits here, folks. So we've got Alonso, Hadjar, Stroll, Verstappen, and Hulkenberg. They are all sat in the pit lane, and they're all going to do one quali run, folks. It's done it again. Oh, there we go, zoomed out as well. But they're just going to do one run in qualifying, not two runs. Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Antonelli, Russell think that it's beneficial to do two runs. And it probably is a little bit in terms of the rhythm for the drivers. You know, they are used to pushing on the limit. So we shall see how that goes. But George Russell through the first sector, second fastest out overall. It's a 17.8 for him. Piastri is 0.3 down in the first sector. When the times get tough, when the pressure goes on, what happens to Oscar Piastri's pace? I'm not exactly sure, but he's just lost 0.3 to his teammate and George Russell in the first sector. Okay, Okie dokes, here comes Russell then, a 109.5, Antonelli, a 109.3 from Kimi Antonelli, very, very nicely done. Now let's see Charles Leclerc, that's third place for the Monegasque Ferrari driver that's just had a little spin earlier on but hasn't knocked his confidence too much clearly. Norris purple through the middle sector, Oscar Piastri across the line, third place for him. He lost 0.3 in the first sector and that was it. Second sector, third sector identical, but the first sector is where he lost all of the time and, well, he's paying the price, isn't he? Lando Norris, he goes up into first position and he's half a tenth clear of Antonelli and 0.3 clear of Oscar Piastri. All right, here comes here comes Nico Hulkenberg. He's out for his first run of Q3 and we'll be getting Alonso, Hadjar, Stroll and Verstappen out in the next few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. You look like Ted Mosby, Loki. I have been told that once, actually. Very surprisingly, but I've been told I've looked... So, since I've done a face reveal, I've been told I look like Vic Starr, I look like Juan Pablo Montoya, and Ted Mosby. Interesting. Okay, anyway, enough about me. We're here for qualifying, and let's have a look at the theoretical best lap times, ladies and gentlemen. What lap time can the drivers do in theory if they get every single sector 1, 2 and 3 hooked up to perfection? Then Lando Norris will go 0.3 quicker than he already has. Norris, as you can see there, is quickest in sector 1, 2 and 3. However, he didn't do that on one lap altogether. Those were over the course, I think maybe 2 laps or 3 laps. So if he can hook up sector 1, 2 and 3 together, he will be... How much would it be? 0.3 clear of the competition, 0.3 clear of Antonelli, 0.6 clear of his teammate. If Piastri hooks up all of his sectors, he's not going to improve by the biggest of margins, maybe about a tenth or so. But yes, Norris looking very, very good so far. Is Red Bull dumb? What are they doing? Red Bull are waiting for the most optimal track conditions humanly possible. They might also be trying to time a tow. We know in the past Hulkenberg has given Max Verstappen tows on occasion. We know that Verstappen has given Hulkenberg tows on occasion. So maybe they're trying to set it up so when Hulkenberg finishes his flying lap, or maybe when Hulkenberg's heading towards the pits on his out lap or something, on his in lap, then Max will be there to get a tow. I don't know, but they're trying to wait for the best possible track conditions, but that of course does run the risk of you not having you getting your lap destroyed by a yellow flag like what happened at the end of Q2. So let's see how it goes. 2 minutes and 10 seconds remain on the clock. Nico Hulkenberg does his one and only flying lap for Q3, and he is 0.6 off the pace, unfortunately the slowest out of every driver that has set a lap, and it is a 119.9 from Nico Hulkenberg. That was not a very good lap overall, to be honest, from him, and he lost 0.3 in the first sector, and if you look at his theoretical best lap time, it would have been 0.3 quicker. So, bit unfortunate, but it is what it is for Nico Hulkenberg. All right, here comes Lance Stroll. He starts his flying lap. Oscar Piastri. Then next in the queue is Lando Norris. Then it's Alonso. Then it's Verstappen. And then it's Hadjar. I don't think Verstappen's going to be getting a toe off anyone, to be honest, folks. So let's see how it goes. The pit stop is huge. The pit lane is huge, folks. The pit lane is huge. However, the pit lane speed limit is only enforced from this part of this part of the pit lane to this part of the pit lane. So the drivers only lose 20 seconds. It's pretty typical for all of it's like all of the other racetracks where they only lose 20 seconds. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, here we go then. Lando Norris, a 17.7 quicker than his own personal best, half a tenth quicker than George Russell as well in the first sector. And what a launch he got off the exit of turn number 3. An incredible drive, an incredible slingshot. We'll see what Verstappen can do behind him. Verstappen can go better by 10 milliseconds, folks. It is on. The fight for pole position is on. Piastri 2 tenths down as he crosses the middle sector line against Lando Norris. Not looking good so far. Lando Norris's middle sector, look at that. It's all yellow mini sectors there for Lando Norris. Is it going to work out for him? He's slower in the middle sector. Has he made a mistake? It looked like he has. And Piastri improves, but it's not enough. Only 3rd position for Oscar Piastri, but you can overtake around here in Interlagos. We'll see how that goes for him. Lando Norris is on provisional pole. He does improve, but it's only by 30 milliseconds, and he is a 119.2. Fernando Alonso is now coming across the line. What can the Spanish driver do? 4th position for Fernando Alonso as the checkered flag falls. Max Verstappen, purple in the first sector. It's only 6th. He had a terrible middle sector again. 6th, 3 tenths down on Lando Norris in the middle sector. Here comes Isaac Hadjar, and that is 9th position for him. George Russell and Charles Leclerc are the final few drivers to do their flying laps. Here comes Russell. Can he stick it on pole? No, he cannot. 4th position for Russell pushes Alonso down to 5th, and Charles Leclerc's on his flying lap now to end off the session. Oh my goodness me, what a lap there from Norris, but he's only a 10th clear of Antonelli. Somehow the Mercedes, Antonelli has outqualified Russell, which I think is only the 3rd time this season actually for Kimi Antonelli. So really, really good job there from Antonelli. Can he improve? Can he beat Norris? Unfortunately not. And who have we got left? We've got Stroll coming across the line. Yeah, Leclerc stays in 8th after having a bad first sector, bad final sector. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of Q3 here in Sao Paulo. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It has been a pleasure commentating to you guys. And what I'm going to do now is send you guys over to the sprint race stream for tomorrow. Yeah, it's going to be quite the exciting sprint race, of course. Only 8 points on offer. So, Piastri, Verstappen, they can all take their lessons learnt, put that towards the actual race, and modify their setups to make sure that they will be quick for the actual race as well. But yes, the race tomorrow. Also, rain forecast. Let me just quickly show you the weather. There we go. Thundery showers and a fresh breeze is forecast for Interlagos tomorrow. So, yeah, be sure to tune in for the sprint race. It's going to be absolutely mega. And I think that is... I think that's all from me. Again, folks, do check out the survey in the description. Goes a long way to help out someone on their master's project about F1 sponsors. And that is all from me. So, Lando Norris, incredible lap, and he is very much on fire. When the time matters, he's there, and he's beating Oscar Piastri. Piastri's getting closer, but is it enough? I'm not so sure. We'll see what happens in the race tomorrow. But Piastri is in a Mercedes sandwich, which is, quite the interesting one, isn't it? We'll see how that goes for him. And Max will be starting from 6th position, who I'm sure he'll be trying to dive bomb everyone. Magic lap there from Fernando Alonso. And Charles Leclerc, a bit disappointing for the Ferrari team there in 8th position. So... yeah, that has been all from me. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And I shall see you for the sprint race tomorrow, and I shall see you for the qualifying tomorrow as well. Oh, Leander, thank you for the €50 donation. Creator of the survey here. Many thanks to everyone that has participated so far, especially to F1 Gaming. Your support has been incredibly helpful to me. Thank you very much, buddy. Thanks for the very kind email as well. And yeah, Leander is the person that set up this survey. This is the person that's doing the master's thesis. So if you guys do want to help out, there is a link in the description to answer his survey and to help out his master's thesis. But thank you for the really big donation. €50 is so much. Yeah, what can I say? All right, folks. So that's all really. No more comments from me, to be honest. We'll see what happens for Stroll. Okay, Stroll and Leclerc have been noted for impeding. I don't know who blocked who, but if my instincts are correct, I think Leclerc may have blocked Stroll. Stroll may have blocked Leclerc the other way around. So we'll see what happens there, and also Hamilton may get a penalty for for his yellow flag infringement, but we'll see. It said it's going to be investigated at the end of the session. So yeah, that is all from me. Folks, I have carried on the stream a little bit longer than usual, and the way that the YouTube algorithm works is it doesn't like to see, the stream drop from 16,000, 17,000 people all the way to 6,000 people. So if you could really do a big favor and help me out, the stream will end. It'll take you over to the sprint race stream. Just hit the like button on that. Goes a long way. But yeah, that's all from me, and I shall see you all in about probably, I think it's 16 hours time, 18 hours time for the sprint race tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye, folks. Good night.